my friends. Welcome to each and every one of you. 'Tis the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures from right here in the Impact Power Sports Studio. Impact Power Sports. That's where you can go to get a Yamaha golf cart or an ATV or a UTV, e-bike, motorcycle, whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Weekend, do whatever you want. They also have a full service department, and they can help you with whatever you need at Impact Power Sports. Online at impactpowersportsmi.com. 2026, I hope it was safe for you. I was in bed at 9:45 p.m. on New Year's Eve. It may have been a record. I woke up and saw that Andy Cohen went on some drunken rant for New Year's Eve, and then I forgot about it. And then I see that the U.S. attacked Venezuela. Let me touch on that real quick. I love people who really don't have any idea as to what the fuck is going on in that and just draw their own conclusions and then decide that they're going to go protest. U.S. invades Venezuela, and I mean, that's pretty fucking badass that you can just go into another country and grab the president and his wife. You know? Now, for those of you who don't know, it's 100% a fact that the president of Venezuela is a dictator, and he's also the leader of a drug empire. Okay, so there's absolutely some terrible things that are going on there. In fact, Maduro was, during the Biden presidency, Biden was all about, this is a dictator and we got to do something about him, but nothing was ever done. Okay, so before you go jumping and attacking Trump for what happened, understand that Maduro has been on the radar for quite some time, and before him, Hugo Chavez. So people don't come at me with it's just Trump being Trump. Biden wanted that guy out as well, but it didn't happen, or he didn't do it, or whatever the fuck. So Trump went and did it. And so now you've got people saying, well, the only reason why we went into there was for the oil. Now, I don't know that. You don't know that. Now, I did see that the U.S. said, Trump said, we are going to take the oil and sell it to other countries. The U.S. is now running Venezuela. The vice president of Venezuela has to work with Marco Rubio. And then, from what I understand, we're going to turn the governmenting or whatever the fuck around and then hand it back off to them, and it's yours. So what I'm curious about is if we take that oil that they have, and they have a lot of it, and then they sell it, does that money go to the people of Venezuela or the establishing whatever, feed the poor, whatever the fuck you would use that for in Venezuela? Now, if the U.S. takes the money and pockets it, well, that's pretty ugly. That's pretty shitty, in my opinion. Megan says, no, if we sell it, it's our money. Duh. Look, I know you don't mean that. I don't want to get the phone call at 1 a.m. saying, hey, that joke I made, can you, delete that maybe? Yeah, I don't think the U.S. can just take out the president and his wife and then sell their oil and pocket it. I don't think that's in the cards. That's a good question. If Trump is in front of the press, somebody's got to ask that question. But so they get this guy, and then people immediately start protesting in the streets of all the major metropolitan areas, including some of the fucking stinky hippies went downtown here where I live. And, they were protesting that the U.S. is just doing this for oil. And I don't know that. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. Okay? Fact of the matter is, the people in Venezuela were very, very happy that this happened. You can turn on any clip and play it, and you'll see people are running through the streets saying, thank God we got rid of this asshole. No big deal. That's awesome. That's all I needed to see. So that's it. Now, I will say this. The U.S., I don't think it was about human rights, because there are a lot of places in the world that have human rights violations and we don't lift a finger to. All right? Molly says, same question to you, Easy. How do you know that footage is new and from there? I don't know that. If it were any other nation, the U.S. would not go in, because, like I said, there are nations that have poor leadership and run by a dictator. There's a lot of them, and we don't do anything for those. So, did we go in and do that because of oil, or did we go in and do that because of the narco-terrorism? And I choose to believe that we went in there because of the narco-terrorism. I actually believe 100% that that's why we did that. Again, we got to go back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden saying, we got to take this guy out. He's oppressing the people. The flood of drugs into the United States is terrible, and it's all because of Maduro. And that is the thing that I think is the caveat that some of you folks on the left aren't considering. Your guy, Joe Biden, wanted that guy out. All right? But you're so blinded by your rage and hatred of Trump that it's now become something that you think we didn't have to do, or we did it for reasons like oil. All right? And that's what separates. This is why I'm so much better than all of you. Because you don't look at things from an objectively intellectual point of view. You're looking at it through your rage and your hatred. And it's silly. It's a hindrance to you. I'm telling you. You got to let that go. This is a good thing. The world is a better place without Maduro leading Venezuela. And the quicker you process that, the better day that you're going to have. Okay? People ask, EZ, was it illegal? Was it that? Who cares? No one cares. All right? Nobody gives a shit. The bad guy is gone. We have him in custody, and his wife. We went in and snatched him under the cover of night. It was fucking fantastic. My God. Cole writes, narco-terrorist, check. Evil dictator, check. Country has oil, check. Let's go. Now, I can't go that far. I can't go with that far of taking the oil from the people of Venezuela, and I hope to God that that does not happen. Bread Bowl Brain Chris says, more importantly, this all resulted in one less day of free beer on the air. It was worth it. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Why is free beer not on the air today? I saw that free beer is not on the air, and I saw that Kelly is not on the air. And I see that it's Wow, what a trio. Hot Wings, Steve, and Maitland. Dear God. Rebecca says, none of this makes sense. Let's capture the guy for narco-terrorism, but also pardon the other president who also participated in narco-terrorism. Now, you're thinking about Juan Orlando, the former president of Honduras. Well, I don't know anything about that case, but Trump seems to think that he was framed, and that is not the case. So I guess it's all a matter of who you believe. But I think that the people who hate Trump, I honestly believe that you got to wrap your mind around what happened here was a good thing. I really think that you need to focus on that. Bread Bull Brain Chris says him and she who shall not be named went to some place called Curacao and got stuck in the no-fly zone. And that's what Ashley is. Ashley said, oh, my God, maybe they got stuck in the Caribbean with everyone else due to the closed airspace. Caraco. Ben Glaze is here. Ben, the only day I had... Now, last week was a Big Fraud Tuesday. Can we get a quick turnaround on a Big Fraud Tuesday for this week as well? So that would be tomorrow. Because that is the only day that I have free for a Big Fraud episode. Bread Bull Brain Chris says Curacao. All right. So Curacao, whatever the fuck. It is a Big Fraud Tuesday coming up on the 6th of January. So January 6th, Asshole Festival anniversary of the sacking of the Capitol. So there you go. We will do that tomorrow with Who Are These Free Beers, followed by the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. I was just reminded that so January 4, that would be yesterday. That was the wait a minute. Yeah, it was. That was the fireversary of Ben and EZ. So that was how many years ago? That was 7-year fireversary. Happy fireversary. This is fireversary season for me because Ben and I got shit canned on January 4th, 2019. And then as that all went, that was a Friday. Saturday came and went. Sunday, I sat in here with an iPhone and a teeny tiny notebook computer and did the first ever edition of the Eric Zane Show podcast. Then that was February, and then I had the, truth be told, that was January 4th. In October, I created the Patreon, but kept it dark. I created the website, kept it dark, because it was right after I got suspended for yelling at Ben. And then after that happened, that was weird. They ended up bringing us back for 2 more months, and then they fired us. So I was fortunate enough to have that foresight and knowing that, the end was near, so that I was able to launch the podcast, or the Patreon and the podcast. And I didn't have any intention, really, of making a regular thing of it. I guess I kind of went into it open-ended and see where it'll take us. And then in March, Ben Glaze kicked my ass. And that resulted in, oh, God, that was brutal. I woke up one morning and Ben had knifed me so bad it makes him feel bad every time I talk about it, but it absolutely happened. The fucker. It was all sorts of crazy shit. And so then we were fighting for several months after. Ben says, sorry about that. There's no need to apologize, buddy. I don't know how long it happened. It went, and then finally he had he was kind enough to reach out to me and say, hey, we shouldn't be fighting. We should be friends again. I said, okay, let's do that. So we had a discussion about it, and we figured it out, and then here we are. That was so many years ago. Man Bun Chris says, weren't you fired from iHeart in January too? Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember that one because it was only like a part-time gig at the time. But I've been with iHeart now, my second go-around with them, because as you know, iHeart fired me. At the time, I was making, I was actually making more than minimum wage because minimum wage then was like $10.50. So hey, here you go, $12 an hour. And it was great. I loved it. And then they fired me because there was a big budget cut thing. And then like 2 months go by and they go, hey, you want to come back? And I'm like, well, why? I'm thinking to myself, why the hell did you fire me in the first place? You saved like $150 by not having me on for however long it was that I wasn't on. They brought me back. And I think, you know what? I think I just got a pay raise. January 1, the Michigan minimum wage went up like $1.30. I was making $5 an hour more making French fries at Bosco's Pub than I am as an afternoon host on Big 101.3. That's ridiculous. I'm still counting on Bosco's to reopen, by the way. Doug said he's trying to buy. If anybody has a location that they can sell Doug in and around the West Michigan community, hopefully in the Hudsonville, Michigan area, Doug wants to own the restaurant. He doesn't want to pay rent. Man Bun Chris says the episode titled A New Hope, I think that's what the first episode was called. You had about two or three NAs burping on the mic. Crazy how things worked out. Yeah, after when I started doing the podcast, after doing it right away, within a day or two, Don Veltman offered cash money for advertising. I was like, well, that's cool. So I already had a large chunk of change that would last me for a couple of months from Patreon right away. And then I started getting sponsors. First one was Don Veltman, TC Paintball, A&E Heating and Cooling, and Irvine's. Henry Steffes was the realtor. And that was like I was fucking gangbusters. And it's still gone great. In fact, Joe Martinez still listens. He doesn't advertise, but he says he's going to again. We'll see. Hopefully he does. I guess his recovery is slow, but going okay. Good for him. TC Paintball's still here. Irvine's still here. Henry Steff has checked out. I mean, he's still alive, but he's not advertising anymore. And Don Veltman, Back Alley Comedy Club, went belly up. Man Bun Chris says, have you heard from Big Dick Donnie recently? That was wild when that comedian came gunning for his money. Well, he wanted to get paid. Don stiffed the guy. No, Don ghosted the world. He went AWOL. So we were off and running. The podcast, I think, kind of sucked cock. I did not know whether I was coming or going on those first, for the longest time. In fact, I still think that the show is changing and evolving. How I do what I do. I would get so stressed out to be able to fill 15 minutes of podcasting. And too often I'd be like reading the news, reading articles, which I hate to do. I just like talking on here, which is something I wasn't capable of doing when I started doing this. Tyler says that Joe might be the next Kyle. Not Kyle, the one I used to work with, but the Kyle from Dumpster Divers. Stringing Easy along with sponsorship for extended time. LOL. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, well, I think he'll be back. If not, no big deal. Do we even know if Big Dick Donnie is in West Michigan? No, I don't know that. He might be. I know that Michael Rappaport wants to kick his ass. All right. So, 7 years in the books since that firing. The next fireversary comes up. It'll be 10 years for GRD. Excuse me. That, let's see. When is that? God, I don't even know. Sometime in February. All right. So, my time away, went to go see Dad. Dad is, Dad's slowing down. There's no question. I hate to even bring it up, but it is what it is. He's hilarious because I come walking in to see my dad. He's all covered up on the couch. And he sees me. I go, "Hi, Dad." And he goes, "Hey." Like, and I can tell he's acting. He doesn't know who the hell I am. He goes, "Hey." And he always kind of does that, you know. He's almost like trying to cover up that he doesn't know who it is. And then right behind me, Pooh Bear shows up. And then he lights up like a fucking jackpot slot machine. Oh, my God. He's so in love with Diana. And he totally remembers her. And they, of course, did great. I didn't take a lot of pictures. I got one nice picture. I could probably send it along to share it with you. I know you love seeing pictures of Dad. And these two together, and Diana's just, my God. She's just the best. Her what do you call it? Recovery continues to go very well. She's doing great. Her energy is still a little low, but she headed off to school today. Vacation is over. All right. I don't even know if I have the ability to show you what I want to show you. No, I don't. Damn it. Oh, God, that sucks. Anyway, I'll get to that later on. I have a 11 a.m. meeting with the radio station coming up. I was going to share with you all of these screenshots from what was just an outstanding weekend in terms of my interactions with people. And from my standpoint, what usually happens is, well, in fact, it always happens this way, where I am doing my thing in my neck of the woods, posting on my own little Facebook page, hey, listen to this show, or hey, listen to this show, or maybe I'll make a funny post about something, and then it involves members of my old show's audience usually go on the attack. And, you know, I've made it very clear that this is how it's been for quite some time. And they'll say something aggressive, and then that's the end of it. Or so they think. But then I will then respond to what they did And then once I do that, and what they forget is that I'm a lot better at this than they are. So I'll say something horrible, but hilarious. And then it's on. So then that's how it goes. And that was the case for most of the weekend. I spent a good portion of my time looking at the images of people that attack me. And then typically how it goes in my world is the very first thing that pops into my head is what